Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Ramo, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ramo, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Haribol!
That was most beautiful. I love that tune. Huh? The other day I listened to some recording and that tune was there and I couldn't get it out of my head all day long. Huh? It's a beautiful, beautiful tune.
Yes, beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
I've heard done by Vrijabasis, of course, on harmonium in different ways, and also Prahlad, more kind of like popular music made in studio. So it's very interesting.
Hare Krishna. That is absolutely, it's a dancing tune. One just feels like jumping up and dancing. Hare Krishna. You feel also like that, like dancing?
Yeah,
Yes.
a bit, yeah.
Yes. Everybody feels like dancing. Right. One quick question to you. Halfway through the bhajan, through the Kirtan really, huh? Did you change did you come closer to the mobile or did you change anything?
No.
Because
no,
I
we were
think
sitting at the same
We're sitting in the
spot.
same places.
yes, I think I have some problem, huh? And I cannot figure out what it is. At the beginning, it was a little bit low, and then it was okay, and then it comes over so loud and even distorted. I don't know. I
Maybe
put the
we
microphone.
were singing.
I have the same thing.
Maybe we were singing louder.
No.
Well, I don't know. That was only really I have said since 2 or 3 weeks, a few times, 2-3 times I've experienced that. I have to find out what is the reason, which is a technical challenge, I guess so. Anyway, Kirtan is Kirtan. This way or that way, we'll find out. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So welcome, Ben. Oh, Hare Krishna, Ben. Very nice you're here. Thank you so much. Jayanti Bai, wonderful. Pandava Prabhu, Bhagavati Mataji, Prakash Ji, all the way from Delhi, and Varshani Kishori Mataji. Welcome for our session tonight, our Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam session. We're carrying on with the 11th chapter of Lord Krishna entering Dwaraka and the queens, and some beautiful verses coming up, really, really nice. And then we have a quiz as well at the end. At the end, sorry, Pandava Prabhu. You come back at the end. That would be nice. Hare Krishna. We're waiting still for your quiz, Pandava Prabhu. Vashna Kishori did one last time. We played that, so it's your turn for the next time. Or maybe you have one for tonight. Then I'll hold back with mine and we play yours. Hare Krishna.
Not yet, but it's coming.
It's coming. Very good. I like that. It's coming. Just wait a few days more. Hare Krishna. So let's go to our Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And what we have 1:11:36. We go back to the old method, which we devotees felt it was better to read in a separate browser than me screen sharing, and they have no control going up or down. So this method, you have to switch over to the browser and back to Zoom, but at least it gives you control over scrolling up and scrolling down.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. I was going to make a suggestion. that we do this, go back to the old browser because we enjoy it more. The only thing is the reason we do switch is just to answer you, just to get off the, get the voice in. So if you are talking to somebody or letting us know that, okay, can you read? Then if you just take us off the mute button and then we don't have to go back and forth. That's all it is.
I can do that. If you all have agreed when you logged in to be unmuted by me, then you don't have to switch forth and back. You can stay on the browser. So that is a new way, and I would suggest that.
I think that makes sense. I think that makes better sense. I mean, that is the only reason we're going back and forth, just to answer you whether, oh, yes, can you read? And then we go back to, yes.
I know.
So
I know that there would be another solution that everybody stays unmuted, but there is so much noises, then you have to really sit
the person
quiet.
you're talking to, I don't mean everybody. If you just tell the person, you know, are you reading, and just take them off,
yes,
then it should be fine.
Yes, we will do that. And I expect, or I hope that while you logged in tonight, you have all agreed that I can unmute you, and then that will work. As common to previous session. I know what's coming now. Hare Krishna, Bhagavati Mataji. I wanted to mention that. Let me, before you say anything now, let me just give a very brief explanation that there could be a misunderstanding. Spiritual life before family. It is not one or the other. It's not kind of like material. 2 minus 1 is 1. Not anything like that. It's just, if we put Krishna in front of everything, then all our family life becomes a million times better. There is no competition. Just that in very, very short. I have a feeling you want to talk about that. Go ahead, Bhagavati Mataji. The microphone is yours. Can I unmute you? Yes, you're right. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Oh, thank you for this comment. So I won't take a lot of time, but yeah, actually, although you explained, but for me and maybe for others, the way in which this question was composed, it was like one or the other. Mm-hmm. And because, and that's why, as having a woman's body and being a mother and having experienced some like family life, although I joined as a very young girl, I would like to just emphasize even that we should, as you said, if we add Krishna to our life, everything, or including our family life, family duties, will go, we will put in proper perspective. But sorry to say, but composing the statement in such a way can stay in someone's mind, and then when there is a situation, life situation, somebody can, okay, but they said, the devotees said that spirituality is higher than family. And for instance, and this can lead even to some very difficult or tragic situation even. So sorry for that, but I have seen such situations in my life as a devotee. That's why I would, and also there are some quotations from Prabhupada saying, for instance, and I read recently, we read today in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, in a 3rd canto, in the purport, that if you have a family and the child is becoming your first priority, because and taking care of the child in a proper way, to give this child, as a Krishna conscious person, as a gift to the society. And also I found some from Prabhupada that there is, I don't know if I can see now. You can still advance in Krishna consciousness, even in the office by chanting and by chanting, for instance. And also there is no difference between devotees living inside the temple and devotees living outside the temple. So I don't want to take the whole of time and make the mess of your plan for the today's meeting, but I had a very deep feeling that I would like to comment on that and make the point, making others also maybe think about it. That's if we have families, meaning wife and or husband and children, all our father, mother, we should always, if we are Krishna conscious, the family life becomes part of it, and we don't have to choose. And this is at the beginning of the movement. I think you also have the experience of that because of such black and white understanding. There were some very difficult situations which could not happen when there were deeper and more mature understanding.
Thank you very much, Bhagavati Mataji. I couldn't have said it better. Yes, of course, I have experience, and devotees were immature and fanatical, and there could situations arise where the wife is saying, I need some help with the shopping, I need some help with the children, can you please help me? No, I going chanting my rounds now, I doing spiritual activities, just as an excuse to get away. No, that is a total misunderstanding. And there's a fanatical concept. No, there's blending spiritual life and family duties, not only family duties, working duties, any duties. They have to combine and everything, all our duties, whatever we do throughout the day, it becomes infused with Krishna consciousness. It's not two, it becomes one and the same. Just all what is changing is the consciousness. The consciousness. And of course, in the early days of the movement, there was people who lived outside the temple. They were considered to be in Maya. They were not proper devotees, but now we have come 40 years, a long time. I don't think anybody would still claim that. We have devotees in the temple, outside. There is no difference where we live. If we in the Grihastha ashram, even if we in the sannyasa ashram, is also misunderstanding sannyasa ashram. This is, yes, in the renounced order and respect must be given, but that is just an ashram. It doesn't mean every sannyasi is a paramahamsa. No, it doesn't mean that at all. So there's different stages of sannyas. Spiritual sannyas doesn't say anything about spiritual realization. Nor does a grihastha, nor a brahmachari, no. And even their householder, Lord Chaitanya had householders, were very advanced. Bhaktivinoda Thakur was a householder. And others, most of the devotees with Lord Chaitanya's associates were householders. And they were very advanced, pure devotees. They were associates, eternal associates of the Lord. So, not two things, it is one and the same. And if someone makes two things, okay, family life, now I have to do my spiritual life. It reminds me of a story, an Indian gentleman, where I picked up for our Food for Life, many years ago, I picked up fruit and veg donations. I had a fruit and veg business. And one day he said, oh, Gauranga, I want to join the temple. I said, oh, right, why? oh, I fell out with my wife. I want to join that. I really want to become a devotee. Okay, so let's talk next week about it a bit more again. Then I ask him next week, you still want to join the temple? Oh, no, I met up with my wife. So it's just a run away. Running away is not the solution. We cannot run away. The yogi who went into the Himalaya, running away from all responsibilities, even taking sannyas. That has happened. Taking sannyas in order to run away. But that person who runs away to the Himalayas, and that is very, very often a misunderstanding. Oh, I have to practice bhakti. I go to the Himalayas. We don't need to go to the Himalayas. You can practice Krishna consciousness wherever you are, in whatever situation. If you're sannyasi, a brahmachari, a householder, if you're Brahmin, a kshatriya, a shudra, it doesn't matter. You can be Krishna conscious in any ashram and in any varna. So he goes to the Himalayas and he found that the damsels of this world, which he tries to run away from, and today's verse is speaking about that, the sex attraction, the Cupid, which is such a strong attraction in all species of life. Then he runs away to the Himalayas and thinks he gets away from all the attraction of the opposite sex. And then he finds out that he has taken the damsels of this world within his mind to his ashram in the Himalayas. So there is no running away. If we haven't conquered our mind, this attraction will go with us. And we know, of course, also the story of the man who is dying and the king speaks to his minister. And there's how long does this opposite sex attraction actually last in life? And the minister told him, maybe it was Chanakya Pandit, I'm not sure, or Birbal. And he said, up till the moment of death. Sex attraction up till the moment of death. And the king said, no, I don't believe that. I don't believe. Okay, so come with me. There is an associate, a friend is just about dying. Let's find out. So bring your daughter, your young, beautiful daughter with you. So the king came with his daughter and they went to the bedstead of the man who is dying. And the dying man, the king, his king, who is at this time was worshipped like God. The man couldn't get his eyes off his daughter, not the king. He didn't really care much about the king, but he cared all about his daughters. And then the king said, now I understand. So in today's verse is also, how can we conquer that opposite sex attraction? That's very important. It's the strongest binding force in this material world. And the verse today speaks all about it and gives us some really good advice and learning experience and realizations. Because Srila Prabhupada also said, once we have conquered overseas sex attraction, then we're on the liberated platform. Hare Krishna. Okay, so much, so good. Too much said. Let's go to the Bhagavatam. I'll put in the chat text 36. It is there for everyone to see. And I would like to ask Pandava Prabhu, you have to go after some time. So read us text 36, please.
Hare Krishna.
Just one more thing. Bhagavati Mataji, you make a quiz. You find out how difficult it is to make a quiz. To balance the questions right, there will be not misunderstood somewhere. Some question will be borderline, and some others will be, clear cut. What's the name of the Pandava who Krishna spoke the Bhagavad Gita to? So these are easy knowledge questions. But Pandava Prabhu, you make your quiz. You see how, because if you have a quiz question, then you not only have to think about the question, you have to think about the answers, 4 answers, and one of them is right and the others are wrong. And that has to be balanced and not misunderstood. It takes a lot of meditation. The doing the question, that is the easy part. But to balance it, to formulate it, and the question should all be as short as you can. Hare Krishna. Pandava Prabhu, microphone is all yours.
Hare Krishna. We are, of course, appreciating that you are making the quizzes, and we can believe that it is not easy task, definitely. But I personally think that the quiz shouldn't have questions which are actually even a dilemma like this. Should I have family life, or should I care more for family life or from? So this is, sorry for that, but in my understanding, this is not a topic for the quiz. The quiz should be quick, and like a short and something from different. This is, but of course, when Pandava Prabhu will make a quiz, I will maybe help him so we will understand how difficult it is. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So it's first canto, chapter 11, text 36. Uddama bhava vishunamala valguhasa vrida valoka nihato madano piyasam samukhya chapam ajahat pramattatamasta yasyendriyam vimathitum kuhakairna shveku. Translation. Although the queen's beautiful smiles and furtive glances were all spotless and exciting, and although they could conquer Cupid himself by making him give up his bow in frustration, and although even the tolerant Shiva could fall victim to them, still, despite all their magical feats and attractions, they could not agitate the senses of the Lord. Purport. The path of salvation, or the path of going back to Godhead, always forbids the association of women, and the complete Sanatan Dharma or Varnashama Dharma scheme forbids or restricts association with women. How then can one be accepted as the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is addicted to more than 16,000 wives? This question may be relevantly raised by inquisitive persons really anxious to know about the transcendental nature of the Supreme Lord. And to answer such questions, the sages at Naimisharanya have discussed the transcendental character of the Lord in this and in following verses. It is clear herein that the feminine attractive features which can conquer Cupid or even the supermost tolerant Lord Shiva could not conquer the senses of the Lord. Cupid's business is to invoke mundane lust. The whole universe is moving, being agitated by Cupid arrows. The activities of the world are being carried on by the central attraction of male and female. The male is searching after a mate to his liking, and the female is looking after a suitable male. That is the way of material stimulus. And as soon as a male is combined with a female, the material bondage of the living being is at once tightly interlocked by sex relation. And as a result of this, both the male and female's attraction for sweet home, motherland, bodily offspring, society and friendship, and accumulation of wealth becomes the illusory field of activities, and thus a false but indefatigable attraction for the temporary material existence, which is full of miseries, is manifest. Those who are therefore on the path of salvation for going back home, back to Godhead, are especially advised by all scriptural instruction to become free from such paraphernalia of material attraction. And that is possible only by the association of the devotees of the Lord, who are called the Mahatmas. Cupid throws his arrow upon the living beings to make them mad after opposite sex, whether the party is actually beautiful or not. Cupid's provocations are going on, even among beastly societies who are all ugly looking in the estimation of the civilized nations. Thus, Cupid's influence is exerted even amongst the ugliest forms, and what to speak of the most perfect beauties. Lord Shiva, who is considered to be most tolerant, was also struck by Cupid's arrow because he also became mad after the Mohini incarnation of the Lord and acknowledged himself to be defeated. Cupid, however, was himself captivated by the grave and exciting dealings of the goddess of fortune and voluntarily gave up his bow and arrow in a spirit of frustration. Such was the beauty and attraction of the queens of Lord Krishna, yet they could not disturb the transcendental senses of the Lord. This is because the Lord is all perfect, Atmarama, or self-sufficient. He does not require anyone's extraneous help for his personal satisfaction. Therefore, the queens could not satisfy the Lord by their feminine attractiveness, but they satisfied him by their sincere affection and service. Only by unalloyed transcendental loving service could they satisfy the Lord, and the Lord was pleased to treat them as wives in reciprocation. Thus, being satisfied by their unalloyed service only, the Lord reciprocated the service just like a devout husband. Otherwise, he had no business becoming the husband of so many wives. He is the husband of everyone, but to one who accepts him as such, he reciprocates. This unalloyed affection for the Lord is never to be compared to mundane lust. It is purely transcendental, and the grave dealings which the queens displayed in natural feminine ways were also transcendental because the feelings were expressed out of transcendental ecstasy. It is already explained in the previous verse that the Lord appeared like a mundane husband, but factually his relation with his wives was transcendental, pure and unconditioned by the modes of material nature.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, Pandava Prabhu. What a beautiful, beautiful purport. Huh? iPhone, I'm not sure. Who is iPhone? Is that you, Rashmi, or is it Shushila Ben? No, Rashmi, you're here. It might be Shushila Ben. Hare Krishna. If it's Shushila Ben, Hare Krishna, Shushila Ben. And Hare Krishna, welcome, Rashmi Mataji. So, can you say a few words about any learning points? What can we learn from all of that?
There's so much to learn, but the first and foremost aspect is to control our senses, especially sex drive. And as we know from Srila Prabhupada's books, he always recommended Grihastha ashram for most of his disciples, male disciples, because that is a shelter and it can help for a person to progress. And of course, this verse is giving us the highest platform, of course, it gives information about Krishna and his queens or wives. And as we know from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Krishna has 16,108 wives, which is unimaginable. And I remember my guru was sometimes joking that he was giving classes in colleges, sometimes in different colleges, about Hinduism, of course, sneaking in Krishna in certain ways. So students, the only thing they remember was that Krishna has 16,108 wives. They didn't remember and nothing else. So definitely this number is very striking for many. And for the Western culture, which is mainly influenced by Christianity, the idea of having more than one wife is already sin. So it's just kind of very difficult to discuss certain things, and just bear with me. So, as especially Western people, they have no concept of whatsoever that God can have wives. That's the hardest topic to discuss. I'm trying to debate sometimes with some Christians or even skeptics. So for them, actually, it's hard to accept that God exists, and that's what they have a problem. And then coming to the point that God can have wives, or it's like we know from Krishna's pastimes. So it's like it's too human. So definitely somebody who is attracted to Bhagavata Purana, who can be a devotee, it means that somebody made purification in the past life or past lives, because without that it's impossible to accept such informations. And so here it is said that Cupid himself was frustrated. So there is also another very nice story from 11th canto Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, when Nara and Narayan were in their ashram, and Lord Indra sent Cupid and his companions, beautiful women and so on. They created atmosphere to agitate Nara and Narayan, but there was no response. It means that Nara and Narayan could control that aspect. So, which is really hard. And in the purport, also Prabhupada mentions the incident of which is from 8th canto Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, about Lord Shiva who fell for the Mohini Murti form of Lord Vishnu. So that gives us a lot to think. If somebody is willing to really investigate more how these feelings can go, or how can we be affected, especially in modern times that advertising of opposite sex is everywhere, which is also very agitative in so many ways. But here Srila Prabhupada gives information about the queens were actually they gave service and affection to the Lord. That that pleased him most. And with other Puranas inform also that many of these main queens, they spend a lifetime of austerities in order to be on that position, to be born and have that affection. So now we can understand actually. So that, let's say, the information given in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is, let's say, it's a final effect. We can see how Lord Krishna was reciprocating with different devotees, beginning from servants like Uddhava or others who brought Krishna and Balaraman to Mathura. I always forget. Just read. Akrura. So that's the example of a servant. Then we have another perfect example of Arjuna, friend of Krishna. Then we have mothers and fathers. And then we have queens, so which is unimaginable situation. But from teachings of Lord Chaitanya, we can find actually the process, how to do it. Lord Chaitanya, the teachings of Lord Chaitanya are so unusual and beneficial that they give assurance how to do it, how a devotee can really revive his sleeping dormant relationship with the Lord. So being a devotee is not just being a devotee. A devotee at some level supposed to decide, of course, with the consultation of his spiritual master, which way to follow, what kind of mood that devotee is supposed to follow. It doesn't mean that any of these moods are higher or whatever, but the bliss that comes from following that mood, that's the fulfillment of a devotee. So that would be a few words.
Oh, thank you, Hare Krishna. That was more than a few words, but it was beautiful. It was up to the point. It was great. Something came to my mind. I was just reading today because you were mentioning Uddhava. And I was searching for something. And as you search in Prabhupada's books, you come across so many jewels all over the place. So there was Krishna sitting alone in the forest, preparing for his departure, with his back leaning on a banyan tree, and Uddhava was there. And Krishna advised him he should go in the Himalayas. And Uddhava said, I cannot leave you alone, my lord. He was so attached. And there also, by some good fortune, Maitreya Rishi came at the spot as well. And Srila Prabhupada explained, that was by some good fortune. I said, Uddhava, that was not by good fortune. That was Krishna's arrangement, because Uddhava was a pure devotee. So when Maitreya was in front of Krishna and Uddhava, and is described that Krishna was glancing lovingly at Uddhava. He looked at Maitreya in a different way, because Maitreya was not a pure devotee. Maitreya, son of Parashara Muni, who was the father of Vyasadeva, of course. So Krishna makes a distinction. There is Maitreya, who has some mixture of his devotional service, and there is Uddhava, who is a pure bhakta, who has nothing else in mind than Krishna. just like Krishna's queens, just like the gopis of Vrindavan. So Krishna says also, I reward them accordingly. Everyone follows my path in Bhagavad Gita. So Krishna reciprocates with everybody according to their service or their love. Just like with the queens of Dwaraka. He reciprocating with them because they're pure bhakti, pure devotional service. Hare Krishna. Anyone has any question? It's a beautiful verse, and I mean, there's so much in that verse. We could carry on for another 45 minutes easily. But Hare Krishna Prakash, thank you for coming, and see you on Wednesday. Hare Krishna. Okay, so any questions? Anyone? If we're relating to this verse or not even relating that closely, any questions, any comment? Anyone? I have a question then. What is an Atmarama? Atmarama is mentioned in the verse. What's that, Atmarama? Analyze the word Atma, Rama. What is Atma? What does Rama mean? Krishna is described as Atmarama, and there's an Atmarama verse in the Bhagavatam as well, an important verse, Atmarama verse. And Lord Chaitanya explains his Atmarama verse in many, many ways. Let me just go here. That we came across that because it was in the first canto, 7th chapter, text 10, Atmaramas Chamunayo, very important verse. And here Krishna, Sutta Goswami is saying all different varieties of Atmaramas. Those who take pleasure in the Atma, or spiritual self, especially those established on the path of self-realization, so freed from all kinds of material bondage, desire to render unalloyed devotional service unto the personality of Godhead. This means that the Lord possesses transcendental qualities and therefore can attract everyone, including the liberated souls. So that's what we have been saying all the time, that after liberation, then pure devotional service really starts. So that is Atmarama. Any other question could be raised? It is beautiful purport and beautiful verse. One more question. It is described here in the purport. Therefore, those who are on the path of salvation, liberation, for going back home, back to Godhead, are especially advised by all scriptural injunctions to become free from such paraphernalia of material attraction. And that is possible only by the association of the devotees of the Lord. So that Sadhu Sangha association is so important. Who are called the Mahatmas. Now, what is a Mahatma? Who can say? What is a Mahatma? Then you want to answer that? What's a Mahatma?
Well, my understanding of a Mahatma is it means a great soul.
Yes, any verse comes to mind?
The Mahatmas constantly engaged in worshiping me with love and devotion. The Mahatmas, the great souls, are constantly engaged in worshiping me with love and devotion.
Which verse is that?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
That could be 9:13. O son of Prita, those who are not deluded, the great souls, are under the protection of the divine nature. They are fully engaged in devotional service because they know me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, original and inexhaustible. Is that verse you mean? There's another more famous verse which refers to Mahatma. Bahunam Janmanam Ante.
Oh, that's not the verse I mean, no.
Is that the verse you mean? Bahunam Janmanam Ante?
Don't know.
Yanavam mam prapatyate vasudeva sarvamiti sa Mahatma sudurlabha. Such a soul is very rare. That's that famous verse describing a Mahatma.
What about verse Mahatmanastu Mampartha?
Yes, that's what I just read. Mahatmanastu Mampartha, O son of Prita, those who are not deluded. Yes, that is Mahatmanas.
Oh, that's the one. That's the one I meant. Yeah.
Yes.
The great souls are under protection of divine nature.
Yes.
They are fully engaged in devotional service.
And there is another reference, a very interesting reference in 9:15 in the purport, where Srila Prabhupada writes, the Lord tells Arjuna that those who are actually purely in Krishna consciousness and do not know anything other than Krishna are called Mahatma. Yet there are other persons who are not exactly in the position of Mahatma, but who worship Krishna also in different ways. And now there is something really interesting because it categorizes even those we would almost understand they're not Krishna conscious, but here we go. Some of them have already been described as the distressed, the financially destitute, the inquisitive, and those engaged in cultivation of knowledge. That is, of course, the 4 pious men who come to Krishna. But there are others who are still lower, and these are divided into 3. 1, he who worships himself as one with the Supreme Lord. 2, he who concocts some form of the Supreme Lord and worships that. And 3, he who accepts the universal form, the Vishwarup. So that is quite important because very often we find devotees are attracted very much to the Vishwarup. They can relate to the universal form. And if we ask, what's your favorite chapter? 11, your universal form is a very famous chapter. And devotees and people feel attracted to that. Now they're falling into the 3rd category. He who accepts universal forms, the Vishwarup of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and worship that. Out of the above 3, the lowest, those who worship themselves as the Supreme Lord, thinking themselves to be monist. Monist is like oneness, are most predominant. Such people think themselves to be the Supreme Lord, and in this mentality they worship themselves. How convenient. Eh? This is also a type of God worship, because they can understand that they are not the material body, but are actually spiritual. At least such a sense is prominent. Generally, the impersonalists worship the Supreme Lord in this way. The 2nd class, including the worshippers of the demigods, those who by imagination consider any form of the Lord to be the form of the Supreme Lord. And the 3rd class includes those who cannot conceive of anything beyond the manifestation of this material universe. They consider the universe to be the supreme organism or entity and worship that. The universe is also a form of the Lord. So here that is really exhaustive on Mahatmas. Hare Krishna. Any other questions?
There's another verse that mentions Mahatmas.
Go ahead, please.
No, it's Satatam Kirtan yanto mam yantantascha dridava vrata namas yantascha mam bhaja nitya yukta upasate. Is always chanting my glories, endeavoring with great determination, bowing down before me. These great souls perpetually worship me with devotion.
Hare Krishna.
That was 9:14.
14. Yeah, that is where from the purport, that excerpt which I just read, that comes from 9:14. Yes, please describe.
The bit you read comes from 9:50.
Okay.
Yeah.
That describes the pure devotees, isn't it? Very nice. Very nice. Thank you so much, Ben. Hare Krishna. Anything more? I would suggest we move on because we could talk for a long time. Could I ask Rashmi Mataji to take on text 37? Are you ready for that? Text 37.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, can I do the next one, please?
Okay, so I would like to ask Vaishnav Mataji, take on text 37 and Rashmi would do text 38. How is that, Vaishnav Mataji? Text 37. I will unmute you. It worked?
Yes.
No, it didn't work.
This? And let Rashmi do this, please.
Rashmi will do 38, right? Are you happy with 37, Vaishnav?
I was saying if I could skip this reading, please. Today I've got a bad throat.
Okay, no problem. Who can do 37? What about Bhagavati Mataji?
Bhagavati is getting ready to move.
Yes, I thought so.
Sorry.
I'll do it.
Okay, Ben, are you happy to read? Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy to read it. I was actually compiling a quiz, but
right.
I'll do it.
Ready?
It's not ready. I've only done like 5 questions so far.
Okay, next
I just
week.
wanted to see how quick I could do it.
Okay, and you find it difficult?
No.
No? Okay, I'm looking forward. So, text 37, Ben.
What I have to go to chat. 37. Right. Tamayam manyate loko hiyasangam api sanginam atma upam yena manujam vayaprin vanam yato buddha. Translation. The common materialistic conditioned souls speculate the Lord is one of them. Out of their ignorance, they think that the Lord is affected by matter, although he is unattached. Purport by His Divine Grace, Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. The word Buddha is significant here. Due to ignorance only, the foolish mundane wranglers misunderstand the Supreme Lord and spread their foolish imaginations amongst innocent persons by propaganda. The Supreme Lord, Sri Krishna, is the original primeval personality of Godhead. And when he was personally present before the eyes of everyone, he displayed full-fledged divine potency in every field of activities. As we have already explained in the first verse of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, he is completely independent to act however he likes, but all his actions are full of bliss, knowledge, and eternity. Only the foolish mundaners misunderstand him, unaware of his eternal form of knowledge and bliss, which is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita and Upanishads. His different potencies work in a perfect plan of natural sequence, and doing everything by the agency of his different potencies, he remains eternally the supreme independent. When he descends to the material world by his causeless mercy to different living beings, he does so by his own potency. He is not subject to any condition of the material modes of nature, and he descends as he is originally. The mental speculators misunderstand him as the supreme person, and they consider his impersonal features as inexplicable, Brahman to be all. Such a conception is also the product of conditioned life, because they cannot go beyond their own personal capacity. Therefore, one who considers the Lord on the level of one's limited potency is only a common man. Such a man cannot be convinced that the personality of Godhead is always unaffected by the modes of material nature. He cannot understand that the sun is always unaffected by infectious matter. The mental speculators compare everything from the standpoint of experimental knowledge of their own selves. Thus, when the Lord is found to act like an ordinary person in matrimonial bondage, they consider him to be like one of them, without considering that the Lord can at once marry 16,000 wives or more. Due to a poor fund of knowledge, they accept one side of the picture while disbelieving the other. This means that due to ignorance, only they always think of Lord Krishna as like themselves and make their own conclusions, which are absurd and unauthentic from the version of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam.
Thank you very much. Beautiful. Yes. Can you highlight a few important points, learning points? What can we learn from that?
I feel this like brings up a question of faith in Krishna, in a sense. It's quite easy for the devotees to accept that Krishna has unlimited abilities. You know, their understanding that Lord Krishna can expand his spiritual body unlimitedly. So therefore, you know, he can actually, you know, conceivably perform a task such as being married to over 16,000 wives. So for the devotee, that's not really a problem. The devotee accepts that. But here, like Prabhupada's talking about non-devotees or just ordinary people, they can. For them, these kind of pastimes are like they're completely inconceivable because they're only relating everything to themselves and their own abilities and their own bodies and their minds and what they can do. So it becomes impossible for them to conceive how Krishna could possibly do the things and be the way that he is.
Yeah, thank you. I couldn't have said it better. That is absolutely beautiful. In fact, it is difficult to conceive since someone cannot understand Krishna. I mean, it's difficult. How can possibly anybody not accept and understand Krishna in that way? There's something wrong if someone cannot understand, if they have to argue and... what's wrong with them? It's so simple.
There was another point that was made in relation to Krishna. Is not subject to the modes or the influence of the modes of nature, because because Krishna's body is completely spiritual. He's composed of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. He's outside the realm of matter, or the material universe, and it's such that he's never contaminated or touched by anything material. So he's aloof from it, but at the same time he can be in it, but he's never actually touched by it, because he's in a different kind of existence and reality.
Very nice expressed. To my mind comes the expression, we are in this world, but we are not of this world.
Yeah.
So how is that possible? We have different values, we have different goals, but we are in this world to acting and to make active propaganda for Krishna. Krishna likes that. We make propaganda for him. Krishna says that devotee who explains this Bhagavad Gita to others, he is the most dear to me. No will ever be anyone more dear. So actually, we just have to do Krishna's business, Lord Chaitanya's business of spreading this holy name in every nook and corner of the world. That's all. And we are totally blissful of doing that. Then to whatever degrees we can manage that. And so we are just like insurgents. That is a Hare Krishna insurgency. We are within this world, but not of this world. Okay. Thank you very much, Bhagavati Mataji, Pandava. Hare Krishna. And we'll have a quiz next time from both of you, or together a cooperative quiz, and we're looking very much forward. Hare Krishna. So, yes, nice. Ben, any more question? Anyone has any question? Pandava, if you... Oh, you're gone. Okay. Any more question, anyone? If not, we're going to the next verse. And I would like Rashmi Mataji to give us a reading of text 38. That would be nice. Are you happy with that? Text 38, Rashmi Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji, you have to give me a chance to find it.
Okay.
In my book. So we are on chapter 11.
1:11:38.
38. Etad ishanam ishasya prakriti sthopi tad gune na yujyate sadatma sther yatha buddhistat tad ashraya. Translation. This is the divinity of the personality of Godhead. He is not affected by the qualities of material nature, even though he is in contact with them. Similarly, the devotees who have taken shelter of the Lord do not become influenced by the material qualities. But in the Vedas and Vedic literatures, Shruti and Smriti, it is affirmed that in the divinity there is nothing material. He is transcendental, nirgun only. He is nirgun only, the supreme cognizant. Hari, or the personality of Godhead. Hari, or the personality of Godhead, is the supreme transcendental person situated beyond the range of material affection. These statements are also confirmed even by Acharya Shankaracharya. One may argue that his relation with the goddess of fortune may be transcendental. But what about his relation with the Yadu dynasty, being born in that family, or his killing the non-believers like Jarasandh and other Asuras directly in contact with the modes of material nature? The answer is that the divinity of the personality of Godhead is never in contact with the quality of material nature in any circumstance. Actually, he is in contact with such qualities because he is the ultimate source of everything, yet he is above the actions of such qualities. He is known therefore as Yogeshwar, or the master of mystic power, or in other words, the all-powerful. Even his learned devotees are not affected by the influence of the material modes. The great 6 Goswamis of Vrindavan all came from greatly rich and aristocratic families, but when they adopted the life of mendicants at Vrindavan, superficially they appeared to be in wretched conditions of life, but actually they were the richest of all in spiritual values. Such Mahabhagavats, or first grade devotees, although moving amongst men, are not contaminated by honor or insult, hunger or satisfaction, sleep or wakefulness, which are all resultant actions of the 3 modes of material nature. Similarly, some of them are engaged in worldly dealings, yet are unaffected. Unless these neutralities of life are there, one cannot be considered situated in transcendence. The divinity and his associates are on the same transcendental plane, and their glories are always sanctified by the action of Yog Maya, or the internal potency of the Lord. The devotees are always transcendental, even if they are sometimes found to have fallen in their behavior. The Lord emphatically declares in the Bhagavad Gita 9.30 that even if an unalloyed devotee is found to be fallen due to previous material contamination, he is nevertheless to be accepted as fully transcendental because of his being engaged cent% in the devotional service of the Lord. The Lord protects him always because of his rendering service unto him, and the fallen conditions are to be considered accidental and temporary. They will vanish in time.
Thank you very much, Rashmi Mataji. Can you highlight the important points here, or what we can learn from here?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There are several points. The main point which the translation is making is that the personality of Godhead is transcendental. Transcendental means being above the 3 modes of material nature. And not only is he transcendental, so he is transcendental, but not only is he transcendental, but also his pure devotees are also transcendental, because even they are not affected by material nature. So they may be living in this world and looking and working and behaving like ordinary people, but actually in action there is inaction. So even if they are acting, they are doing karmas, but they are not, those karmas are because their work is being done for Krishna. There is no reaction. It's above the 3 modes of material nature. So there was a Bhagavad Gita verse which tells us about these devotees. I can't remember clearly. I think it was in the 4th chapter, something action in inaction and inaction in action. I cannot remember the details. Then in the purport, Srila Prabhupada is expanding on this. One of those points which stood out was about the Mahabhagavats, how they are moving amongst men. So they may be, if you look at a number of the pure devotees, all some of our acharyas, Narottam Das Thakur, or even Srila Prabhupada, they were grihasthas. So apparently it appears that they are leading a life like us. But because they are leading a life like, it appears outwardly like that, they are moving and leading a life like others. Actually, inwardly, they are fully renounced. They are internally, they are renunciated. what's the word, renunciated. I'm sure that's not the word, but you know what I mean. So externally they may appear as grihasthas, but internally they are as renunciates. There is no attachment there. They are above the three modes of material nature. So there is no duality. They are not affected by sadness, happiness, insult, honor. There is no duality. So that was the second point. There are several points, Prabhuji, but these are the main points I could think of.
Thank you. That verse you mentioned, one who sees inaction in action and action in inaction is intelligent amongst men, and he is in the transcendental position, also engaged in all sorts of activities. This verse describes exactly the same thing. Is that verse what you meant?
Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, very nice points. Huh? Not only the Lord is transcendental, but his pure devotees are also transcendental. And we are supposed to eventually come to that position, but we also become transcendental. And the example we have given many times regarding Srila Prabhupada mentioned at the end of the purport, even if an unalloyed devotee is found to be fallen due to previous material contamination, he is nevertheless to be accepted as fully transcendental because of his being engaged 100% in the devotional service of the Lord. So we have given many times that example. If someone's standing in the shower, he's dirty, and someone points out, "Oh, you're so dirty." That isn't actually offensive, because that person is not considered dirty because he's engaged in the process. He's in the shower. He will just, in the next 3, 4, 5 minutes, he will be clean. So those who are 100%, that's important, 100%, 100% engaged in devotional service of the Lord, yes, they will be purified. If someone stops that service, that is a different story. Okay, what more can be said, or any questions or comments? I was reading the other day that everything is under these three modes of the material nature. Everything, in the whole creation, when the whole creation starts, everything is subjected to these three modes. I mean, it's just, if we think about it, it's just, they're everywhere. Everything is based on these three modes of nature. Therefore, to rise to the transcendental platform, to rise beyond these three modes of material nature, that's not a small thing. That's a liberated platform, Brahma, Buddha, Prasamatma. And then, of course, na shurchati, na kankshati, no lamentation, no hankering, Atma Rama, fully satisfied, and then offering devotional service to the Lord. Pure devotional service. So, any comments, any questions? Or shall we move on? Let's move on to text 39. Who wants to take on 39? 39. We only have Rashmi Ben. We can take one more verse, at least one more. Well, maybe I'll take 39. Hare Krishna. Tammenire bala mudha strainam janna vratam raha brahmana vidho bhartur ishvaram madhayo yata. Translation. The simple and delicate women truly thought that Lord Sri Krishna, their beloved husband, followed them and was dominated by them. So we're unaware of the extent of the glories of the husband, and the atheists are unaware of him as a supreme controller. purport by Srila Prabhupada. Even the transcendental wives of Lord Shri Krishna did not know completely the unfathomable glories of the Lord. This ignorance is not mundane because there is some action of the internal potency of the Lord in exchange of feelings between him and his eternal associates. The Lord exchanges transcendental relations in 5 ways: as proprietor, master, friend, son, and lover, and each of these pastimes plays fully by the potency of Yoga Maya, the internal potency. He plays exactly like an equal friend with the cowherd boys, or even with friends like Arjuna. He plays exactly like a son in the presence of Yashoda Mata. He plays exactly like a lover in the presence of the cowherd damsels. And he plays exactly like a husband in the presence of the queens of Dwarka. Such devotees of the Lord never think of the Lord as a supreme, but think of him exactly as a common friend, as a pet son, or as a lover or husband, very much dear to heart and soul. That is a relation between the Lord and his transcendental devotees, who act as his associates in the spiritual sky, where there are innumerable Vaikuntha planets. When the Lord descends, he does so along with his entourage to display a complete picture of the transcendental world, where pure love and devotion for the Lord prevails without any mundane tinge of lording it over the creation of the Lord. Such devotees of the Lord are all liberated souls, perfect representations of the marginal or internal potency in complete negation of the influence of the external potency. The wives of Lord Krishna were made to forget the immeasurable glories of the Lord by the internal potency, so that there might not be any flaw of exchange. And they took it for granted that the Lord was a hand-packed husband, always following them in lonely places. In other words, even the personal associates of the Lord do not know him perfectly well. So what do the thesis writers or mental speculators know about the transcendental glories of the Lord? The mental speculators present different theses as to his becoming the cause of the creation, the ingredients of the creation, or the material and efficient cause of the creation, etc. But all this is but partial knowledge about the Lord. Factually, they are as ignorant as a common man. The Lord can be known by the mercy of the Lord only, and by no other means. But since the dealings of the Lord with his wives are based on pure transcendental love and devotion, the wives are all on the transcendental plane without material contamination. Thus ends the Bhagavatam purport of the first canto, 11th chapter of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, entitled Lord Krishna's Entrance into Dwarka. Oh, isn't that beautiful? Hare Krishna. The Lord plays perfectly as a hand-packed husband, and so on. Yes, this Yoga Maya. Where do we know this Yoga Maya from? From many, many pastimes. So this is not ordinary. The Lord employs his Yoga Maya potency, which is his internal potency. I was just reading the other day, when the devotee chants, the internal potency, Yoga Maya, Ladini Shakti, is dancing on the tongue of the devotee. So therefore, when we chant in a pure, or more or less even pure state, there's not something like pure and impure. There is a sliding balance in between both. It's not just a press button, yes or no. No, there pure and more pure and more pure and most pure. So if we chant in a purified way, then this yoga maya, this Ladini Shakti, this internal energy of the Lord is dancing on the tongue of the chanter. No wonder that we become enlivened by chanting Hare Krishna and become in contact with the Lord directly, because we get in contact with the internal energy of the Lord. So this yoga maya has been employed to illusion the queens, because otherwise that perfect play, I mean, reading that purport, Krishna loves to play this role play. Krishna loves to play this role play. He plays millions of roles. Why? To reciprocate with the love of his devotees. It's all about love. It's all about love. Krishna consciousness is all about love and loving exchanges. So, we know other instances where Mother Yashoda looks in Krishna's mouth and sees the whole universe. And for a minute, she conceived of the opulences of the Lord. And she became completely bewildered. And very quickly, Krishna pulled that curtain. This yoga maya is often compared with a curtain. It's like pulling the curtain, pulling the wool over our eyes. So there is an expression, pulling that curtain of yoga maya over our eyes. This yoga maya we have no control over. That's Krishna's internal energy. Because he enjoys that loving exchange with his devotees. And the devotees enjoy likewise that loving exchange with Krishna. And they don't want anything else. And Krishna doesn't want anything else. And so more pure that exchange is, and so more pure that love is, that the devotee gives himself completely to Krishna in his particular relationship. We know that. We don't have to repeat. There's these different relationships of neutral and friend and lover and parent and so on. So the devotee completely gives himself. Then Krishna becomes so real. In fact, if that exchange is pure, Krishna will appear right in front of our eyes. That day will come. We'll see Krishna face to face. We believe that firmly because Srila Prabhupada said so. If you have any faith in Srila Prabhupada, then yes, why not? That day will come somewhere, sometime, some lifetimes, this lifetime, other lifetime, the millions lifetimes. It doesn't matter. Like the devotee who was chased out of the association of Lord Chaitanya because he was unauthorized there at the meeting. Srivas Pandit smuggled him in because Lord Chaitanya closed the doors and he said, no unauthorized person shall come in. And then they did the Kirtan. But he wanted to see the dancing of the Lord. And he pleaded with Srivas Pandit, just once take me in. Just my eyes want to once see the dancing of the Lord. And Srivas Pandit says, yes, I know, you're a very pious soul, you're a very pure Brahmana. And this Brahmana was only living of drinking milk. Just see, only living of drinking milk. So he was a very austere person. So he took him in. And Lord Chaitanya started his dancing, him hitting. He was hiding behind some baskets. And then after a little bit of dancing, Lord Chaitanya stopped. Why don't I feel the ecstasy today? Is there anybody in the room who is not supposed to be in the room? And Srivas had to answer. Well, first of all, he tried to say, there is no sinner in this room. This Brahmana was not a sinner. There is no sinner in this room. And Lord Chaitanya wasn't satisfied. Is there anybody in this room? And eventually he revealed us that the Brahmin, he is a very pious soul. He's drinking only milk. So Lord Chaitanya got actually very angry. You think you can reach me just by drinking milk? And he chased him out. Go. You will not get my association in 10,000, whatever it was, or 100,000, 10,000 lifetimes. Well, that was a harsh punishment for being unauthorizedly in. But said Brahman, he started dancing. He started dancing. Oh, 10,000 lives only, then I will see my Lord. Hare Krishna, 10,000 lives only 10,000 lives. When the Lord Chaitanya heard about that, he said, bring him back. He is a pure devotee now. Bring him back in the association of the other devotees. So, these pastimes and this Yoga Maya is deployed in so many ways. All over. Many examples are there. So, here we go. The Lord likes to play the different roles in exchange with his devotees. Hare Krishna. Anyone has any questions? What to speak of the atheists? They have absolutely no idea of loving exchanges. So, any questions? No, nobody? I think we'll just do our quiz and do a bit of sharing before the quiz. Anyone has to share anything, Rashmi? What have you been reading? How's your chanting going? Still strong?
I wouldn't say strong, I'm chanting.
You're breaking up.
Strong
Say it again.
will be when I will properly, like how you all must be chanting.
You're on your 11 rounds without fail.
I'm chanting.
Yes, that's the main thing. You are chanting. The quality will come. Hare Krishna. So what have you heard? Are you back with the classes of Siti Lalsa Mataji?
Yes, we are back.
Okay, tell us something.
Prabhuji, now at the moment, today, for the last 3 classes, we have done revision because 2 months had passed. So we did revision of all the chapters of Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, whatever we had studied so far. So it was just quick recap. Quick recap of every chapter, what is the gist of the chapter and all of that. So I cannot specifically say because very little time and we just touched and started upon the new fresh chapters. But I have been listening because we are talking about Dwarkadhish Krishna and his wives. If you have 5 minutes. Is it okay if I speak for 5 minutes? So
Yes.
I can share with you what I've been listening. So I'm currently listening to, have you heard of the scripture called Bhaktamal?
Yes,
a string,
of course.
Yeah, you must have heard. Very famous
mala.
scripture.
Mala.
Bhaktamal. Yeah, Bhaktamal. String of devotees, a necklace of devotees. So it's written by Nabha Goswami. So here in this, it's a whole compilation of all the devotees of the Lord. So I was listening to one narration for the last 7 days, and it is a very beautiful narration of a bhakta called Narshi Mehta. He was from Junagadh in Gujarat. This Narshi Mehta is very famous in Gujarat, this devotee. He was very poor man. He was born deaf and dumb. And then later on, he becomes a devotee. Now, I will just keep it short. I will just narrate one pastime. There were a number of instances in Narshi Mehta's life where Dwarkadhish Krishna intervened. And how Rukmani, Devi Rukmani, she also used to come and accompany the Lord in his mission. So one such pastime was Narshi Mehta had organized a Shraddh ceremony.
Because his brother had kicked him out, the elder brother told him, you go do your Shraddh ceremony in your own house. I'm not prepared to, you don't come to my house. So Narshi Mehta now said, okay, I'll do it in my house. So he tells his wife, wife is also a very big devotee. She tells his wife that arrange for Shraddh ceremony. So wife becomes very, very anxious. We are such poor people, we can hardly manage one meal. In Shraddh ceremony, you have to feed Brahmins. So Narshi Mehta said, don't worry, I will do some arrangement. So then they think, then what she does, she says, okay, you take my bangle and my nose ring. These, and you sell it, and whatever money you use to get the ingredients. So Narshi Mehta tells her, but these are the, they are the symbols of your marriage. So she tells her husband, but you told me that my husband is, everybody's husband is the Lord, Shri Krishna. So it does not matter if my material, you are my material body's husband, you are my this birth's husband. So it does not matter, you sell it. So she convinces her husband. So he takes it away, goes off. And whilst he's going, so he gets all the ingredients. Now he's forgotten ghee. So she tells him that now you have got ghee. How can I cook without ghee? So he goes with a small little pot, and he says, okay, I will go and beg somebody to give me some ghee. And she says, okay, and you go and invite 5 Brahmins. Now he is going into the village. Now he was made to live on the outskirts of the village because people were very envious of him. Generally, people are envious of devotees. They are jealous. They don't understand the devotee's mood. They don't understand the Lord. So they are envious of the Lord and his devotees. So they were very, very envious of him. So they were always creating trouble. So they met him on the way, and they and they asked him, where you're going? So he said, I'm going to arrange for 5 Brahmins because and I've forgotten ghee, so I'm going to beg for some ghee. So these wretched people, they said to him, don't worry, you go and you sort out your ghee, we will go and arrange for the Brahmins. Now what these bad people did, they went and invited the entire village. And not just the entire village, they said, come with your full family. There is a Shraddh ceremony, and Narshi Mehta has invited the entire family to the village, to his house. So, and this Narshi Mehta is now going for ghee in the meantime. When he reaches the shopkeeper's house again, he's also bad. So he wants to trouble Narshi Mehta. So he says that he wants to delay him. So he says, okay, I will give you some ghee, but first you must do Kirtan. And Narshi Mehta was very famous for his Kirtan. They are beautiful Kirtans, which he does. So he started doing Kirtan. Once Narshi Mehta would start doing Kirtan, he would forget everything. He forgot about the Shraddh ceremony, he forgot about the ghee, he forgot everything. One Kirtan after the other lost. Time passed by, and his wife is wondering what is going on. Suddenly all these villagers started to arrive, and she said, oh my goodness, this man is so mad. I told him to invite 5 people. Look at this, the whole village is arriving. I can't hardly feed 5 people. I have not even started cooking. So she began to fret. So here she also stood in the kitchen and started doing the same Kirtan. So husband and wife are both doing Kirtan. She does not know what to do. So she is calling out to Krishna. He is just lost in praising the Lord. Now Dwarkadhish was eating his meal, and Rukmani Devi was serving him. When he saw the situation that now he's in trouble, so he tells Rukmani that we must now immediately leave for Narshi Mehta's place. So Rukmani Devi is always happy to serve the Lord. So she asks him, so okay, so what will we do? So immediately he tells her, you dress up as a merchant, as a wealthy merchant's wife, and I will dress up as a you dress up as my slave, as a servant, as a dasi, and I will dress up as I will dress up as Narshi Mehta himself. So the Lord loves to do all this, loves to take on different roles. like you just said when you were doing the last verse. So he took up this role of Narshi Mehta, and Goddess of Fortune is making all arrangements for a sumptuous meal, for thousands and thousands of preparations are being made, and they left for Junagadh, for Gujarat. So then they arrive there, and there Narshi, she sees Narshi Mehta arriving, and she scolds him. She thinks this is the original one. The original one has forgotten everything and is dancing in the Kirtan. And the fake one, Lord Krishna himself, has now come as Narshi Mehta. So she does not know this. So she scolds him, where have you been? I have not yet started cooking, and I told you to call 5 people. You've called 700 people. So he says, don't worry. I met a very wealthy merchant, and he has given this very nice dasi, and all the food, everything has been arranged. Don't worry, I myself will serve all these people. So the Lord, the Dwarkadhish himself, serves all these people. The Goddess of Fortune is serving all these, even all these envious bad people. She's serving them. Not only that, the Lord is so humble. He also picks up their plates and then throws them. The Narshi Mehta is still stuck there dancing. And the wife is thinking this is Narshi Mehta. And she's very pleased. Not only do they serve the food, they also give lots of gifts to all these people. And then they go home. And then his wife says, you come sit. I will feed you. You also eat. So Narshi Mehta's wife herself feeds the Lord. And then he says, okay, now I have something to do. I will quickly come. So the Lord goes to that shopkeeper's house, shop, where Narshi Mehta had pawned the nose ring and the bangle. And he buys it back. He pays him the money, buys it back, brings it home. And Narshi Mehta gives it to Narshi Mehta's wife. So she's at the time clearing up of all these preparations. She's cleaning everything. So she says, just keep it aside. I will wear this later. So he tells her that this rich merchant gave me this money. I've got it back for you. You wear it. So she says, she says, you just keep it aside. Keep it aside. I will wear it later. But the Lord insists. So she says, okay, I'll wear the bangle. So she wears the bangle. Then he says that I want you to wear the nose ring also. So Narshi Mehta's wife says, I'll wear it later. Now don't trouble me. You go and do some work. But so, and if you're that bothered, you put it like, she gets so irritated with him. She just tells him, if you're that bothered, you put it on my nose myself. So the Lord then touches Narshi Mehta's wife's nose and makes her wear the nose ring. So when he touches her, she feels something different in his touch. She could not recognize it, but she thought, oh, I'm tired. So then Narshi Mehta's job, the Lord's job is done. And then he leaves along with the Goddess of Fortune. And then Narshi Mehta arrives back. And she's shocked because he's holding that pot of ghee. And he's saying that, oh, I'm so sorry, it's very late, but good, nobody has come. You quickly prepare the preparation. So then, of course, the wife tells him everything, and they realize that who the real one is and who the false one was. And then they both burst into tears. Narshi Mehta touches his wife's feet because she said, you've had the good fortune of not only feeding the Lord, you have also had the good fortune of the Lord himself touching you and putting the nose ring in your nose. So this is how he was the Lord himself. He was Dwarkadhish, but he came to his devotees' help. So this was what I just wanted to share because we are studying about the Dwarkadhish at the moment.
Jai Hare Krishna, Hari Bol. What a beautiful, beautiful story. Huh? Krishna loves to save his devotees in so many ways. In so many ways, he rescues his devotees out of difficult and complicated situations. That gives me goosebumps, this story. That is a beautiful, beautiful story. But it's not surprising how Krishna is acting. Not at all. He is just reciprocating with the pure devotions of his devotees. That's all. Thank you, Rashmi Mataji, for sharing that. I'm sure everybody enjoyed that story. Hare Krishna. Let's move on. It's getting late. We have a short quiz. I want everybody to put your microphone on. Everybody put your microphone on and we'll share the Kahoot screen. Okay, let's start. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1:11:36-37. Multi-select, you can select more than one. How can Cupid's provocation be conquered? Srila Prabhupada spoke about that in the purport. We read it. Association with devotees, association with Mahatmas, both is right. Thank you. That was an easy one because we just read it. Same thing. Devotees are Mahatmas. Next. Quiz. Can Lord Shiva be defeated by Cupid? That is also an easy one after all that reading. Yes or no? Oh, someone said no. We just read it. Lord Shiva was defeated by Mohini Murti, incarnation of the Lord. But Cupid, as a feminine attraction, that was Krishna's internal potency. Yes, Lord Shiva, he conceded he was defeated. So it's a yes. Then on top, Kishori and Rashmi. Rashmi, what happened? Are you okay? How was Cupid himself captivated? How was Cupid captivated?
I don't know.
We read it. How was he captivated? He gave up. Yes, by the queens. The yogis cannot captivate Cupid. The yogis cannot defeat Cupid. No, no, no. Not by austerity and not by penances and not by the yogis, but by the queens of Dwarka. They were so pure and so attractive that even Cupid, he put down his bow and arrows. He gave up, like what Pandava explained, like Nara Narayan Rishi. And Pandava explained that Lord Indra sent heavenly damsels with Cupid to tempt. Nara Narayan are, of course, Pandava didn't mention that, are Krishna and Arjuna in the Himalayas doing penances. And then Krishna manifested by his internal potency many, many more attractive damsels, so that Cupid put down his bow. He was defeated. He could not tempt by the display of the heavenly damsels. He could not tempt Nara and Narayan Rishi. And that picture we had with his question, that is actually from that pastime. Next. Rashmi, what happened to you? There's something technically wrong, looks like. That's a shame. Quiz. Which type of mukti liberation does a devotee not accept? We have exhaustively spoken about that, and I just checking that we can never have to ask this question again. Which mukti not? Sayuchya. So yes, I'm happy. 100%. Everybody is on board. Merging. Devotees don't accept. Next. A quiz. Krishna's Atmaram. What does it mean? We just spoke about it. What does it mean, Atmarama? That should be easy. Self-sufficient. Yes, 100%. Very good. Self-sufficient. Happy in himself. He doesn't need any external agency to become happy or satisfied. Like we need always something external to be happy. Next. Why did Krishna marry 16,108 wives? That's also easy, way too easy. No, some more difficult ones are coming. To reciprocate with a pure service, of course. Very well done. It's too easy. Krishna killed Bhaumasura and released 16,100 princesses. True or false? That is not as easy as you think. It is false. How you know? And how you know?
Because it was Jarasandha.
Who killed Bhaumasura? Very good. Vaishnav, what was your thinking? Why did you say false?
No, I said, because yes, he did kill Jarasandha. I knew it wasn't Bhaumasura.
It wasn't Bhaumasura. Who was it then?
Jarasandha.
No, Krishna killed who? To release 16,100 princesses had been captured by a demon, but it wasn't Bhaumasura. It was who?
Jarasandha.
No, Jarasandha, no. Narakasura. Narakasura was that culprit.
I thought it was Jarasandha. That's what was shown. Oh, I see. Okay, I was.
What are you saying, Ben?
I'm saying what you're saying.
Yes, it was Narakasura, but you are saying Bhaumasura was killed by Jarasandha. Is that what you're saying?
No.
I don't know.
Anyway, I have read it was, I looked at the pastime, it was Narakasura. We don't know too much about him, but we can double check just to be sure. Next. I'm so really disappointed that Rashmi, if you're still here or not, said you are not part of the game, because it would be so nice you would be here.
Yeah, I'm there, but I'm listening to you all, but I cannot do, my phone is not allowing me to.
Your phone is not.
I don't know what's wrong. There is something wrong with my phone. I've been struggling on a number. I cannot do two things at one time. It takes me out of that again and again.
That is, so you cannot click on anything.
No, I'm struggling. It will take me out automatically if I try to.
Yes, okay. So you just stay in and see what everybody else is doing. Next time, I think you need to use your iPad or something. Your phone is struggling, that is not working. Or your internet or something. Anyway, let's go on. Krishna reciprocates with everyone according to their surrender. What verse? Oh, that's a bit more difficult. You might have to give it a guess. Or you by elimination. That's to Sarva Dharma. No. Krishna doesn't say he reciprocates with everyone. Sarva Dharma Parityaya. He just says he wipes everybody's karma off. Ye yatamam prapatyanti tamstataiva pachamyaham. Mama vartmani vartante manushya parta sarvashaha. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. We mentioned that verse today. So you may want to keep that verse in mind. As all surrender unto me, I reward them accordingly. So Krishna directly says he is reciprocating according to our surrender. And we have heard that beautiful story of what Rashmi told us. According to that surrender, Krishna, to the extent he is getting involved, to the extent of the love. Next. How does Krishna descend into this world? That is easy. For this audience tonight, at least. By his eternal transcendental body in his, yes, of course. No question about it. True or false? That is also easy.
I don't know.
The speculators, the Jnanis, think there's nothing higher than Brahman. Is it true or is it false? It is true. That is what impersonal speculators aiming for. Brahman. They cannot conceive of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of Bhagavan, who married 16,108 wives. They cannot conceive that at all. That is out of their range. All what they can think is of the Brahman, the eternity aspect of the Lord. Nothing more than that. Next. Type in your answer. Is it a sin if we eat food which has not been offered first to Krishna? It could be only an answer yes or no. That's not for this group tonight. That is just too easy. Yes, it is sinful. Where does Krishna say it? Those who offer food for personal sense gratification, they verily eat only sin. That's it. That's that verse. That's important. What is the next level of Krishna? We had that question before, just checking if we all know. After Shraddha, after faith, which is the next level. It's important because these levels have to come one after another. And that was a very quick answer from both of you. Sadhu Sangha. First faith, then the association of devotees. Then bhajana kriya, engagement in devotional service. And there it goes on and on. Another nivritti. So, Sadhu Sangha is so important. The second step in devotional service. Next, true or false? That is also way too easy. Yes, that was a quick answer. Of course, it is true. It's a verse from the Bhagavad Gita. And that should also be clear now. Careful, this question has been reformulated. First, we fix. But still, someone got it wrong. Who got it wrong? Vashana?
No, not me. I got it wrong.
Yes, because you weren't there last time. We spoke. We had that question before and the time before, and we spoke about it. First, we fix. You may be tempted to say it is false, but first we fix a certain number of rounds. One. It doesn't matter how many. Just a starting point. 1, 2, 4, 8, whichever. And then we work on the quality. Because the other way around, I only chant for quality. So today I chant one round. Tomorrow I don't feel the ecstasy. I don't feel, so I don't chant. I only chant when I feel the connection. No, it doesn't work like that. So next. Quiz. Which is a verse that everybody should know as well? Which is a verse? And you know, I have no doubt.
I don't know.
You must know. Millions of times we spoke about that. If you get that wrong, I will be. You got it wrong. What is man, mana, bhava, mat, bhakto?
I don't know.
Mana sapucha, mana. What is mana? Man.
It's mind.
Yes. Man, mana, bhava, mat, bhakta, always think of me, become my devotee, worship me, offer obeisances to me. That's not the verse. Give up all varieties of religion, sarva, dharma, parityaja, give up all varieties. That, if we don't know any verse, then these two verses we should know. These are the two most important verses of Bhagavad Gita, sarva, dharma, parityaja, and man, mana, bhava, mat, bhakto. And it could be discussed. Some are saying Manmana is even more important than Sarvadharma. Both are very, very important. So, Vaishnava, please do remember that Sarvadharma Parityaja, give up all varieties of religion and just surrender. Is directly translation. Next. True or false? Good work will counteract bad. I don't think anybody will get that wrong. We have spoken about that extensively. But if there's some others, and Amit and others will be here tonight, then that would have been different. So these quizzes are made for a particular audience. But if we have an audience like tonight, then that is a different story. Next. What are you making out of that? It's also easy. It's false, of course. After liberation comes pure devotional service. We don't, Sayuchya Mukti, we don't merge. I mean, I sent out some link of a class previously where we spoke about the muktis, the 4 muktis, and I think that was, if that stays in everybody's mind, Sayuchya Mukti means Ravana on the right and Hiranyakashipu on the left door neighbor, because demons get also this mukti. We don't want to be in that company. Next. True or false? Most people don't take Krishna consciousness seriously. Anti-calamity strikes. These are new questions. True. Very, very true. This picture was from the just over 40-year-old man murdered just around the corner of my house, stabbed to death. For 3 days, there was a police cordon, and Rashmi couldn't bring me prasadam. Hare Krishna. And Jay couldn't get his chapamala and beadbag, so eventually both was. The police actually delivered the prasadam. Rashmi one day had cooked something. She felt so bad that I said on New Year's or what it was, I'm eating kitri leftover. It wasn't meant to feel anybody bad. It was, kitri is nice, wonderful. But then she brought me some what was it again? What was it what you brought me, Rashmi? Never mind. One more question. No, almost. Who said that? I think everybody should know that too. Who said this question? Oh, we split here. Vidura didn't say that. Who said Vidura?
I did.
Yes.
I didn't know.
Don't you remember when the Pandavas were so thirsty they went to the lake?
Yeah.
And a voice was heard, you have to answer my question. If you don't answer my question, if you drink from that water without answering my question, you will die. They said, oh, we are powerful, including Arjuna and everyone. They neglected that voice. They were so thirsty and they fell like that. And they didn't return. And finally, Yudhishthira went. The same voice. First, before you drink water, you have to answer my question. What is the most amazing thing in this world? And Yudhishthira answered. Said, people are dying. And they think we will not die. So that is the most amazing thing in this world. And the last question, it's a poll. To that question, what is our solution? 4 different options given. There could be probably 8 or 10 different options. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. I like this answer. Regular association of devotees. And that's a serious thing. It's not just a quiz. It's a very practical, like Amit would say, it has to be practical. But most people, they hope for the best. They don't have any conception. nor do they know how beneficial the association of devotees is. So now head back to Zoom. Back to Zoom. And let me know if you are back to Zoom. Rashmi is completely gone. Okay. Once you're in Zoom, say you're back. You back? What about you, Vaishnav?
Zoom, yeah.
Tell me, Vaishnav, when you back?
I'm back.
Okay, Hare Krishna. And Jayantiba is still here, I would assume. So let's see how we're doing. Podium. Rashmi, number 3. Kishori, and Ben takes the spotlight. Hare Krishna, well done. Hare Krishna. Unfortunately, I cannot play the music with the present setup. We'll do that better in the future.